Today, I want to talk about small moments that have had a big impact on me. Before I do that, though, and get into those, I wanted to acknowledge that I've been nervous to record lately. There's always a nervous excitement, but I've felt more nervous to record alone than with people, which is something strange for me because I usually don't have a fear of failing when I'm alone. It's typically failing in front of people that provides somewhat of a block to me getting started with stuff. But lately I've noticed, before even wanting to record by myself, that I've just had this nervousness. It's like it feels more real or something, a little bit more self-consciousness. And it's that underlying fear that I think everyone has about being cringe or seeming stupid or silly. But my mindset going into this, especially at this point where it's so fresh, this is the beginning, is that right now this is about doing, not doing perfectly, because trying to do perfectly will often get in the way of just starting. So I've really had to take moments with myself to be like, okay, I acknowledge that I'm nervous. I know that there are a lot of gaps in my knowledge and in my skill set right now in doing this, but I want this. And if I want to keep doing it, I've got to get to it and actually record. Don't just talk about it. Don't just plan it, but sit down and do it and really sit with that anxiety, that nervousness. And yeah, so I just wanted to take a second and just acknowledge that. And then now I want to dive in. So, small moments that have had a big impact on me. So I'm going chronologically with this. It felt like the most logical way, and it does come full circle. So, which, I mean, that's life sometimes. So the first moment, I don't remember exactly how old I was. Possibly 8, maybe 10, 12, around those years. I don't remember much from those as far as being able to anchor exactly how old I was, but I know I was adolescent, like I was a kid. So it was with my dad saying, if you're going to sing one of my songs, you need to do it better. So the context of this is that we were in my childhood family room. I was singing with another sister. And it was just the two of us. And then my dad was there. And it was just a fun moment. Like a little karaoke mic that we had plugged into our TV. Just two sisters and their dad just enjoying stuff. And I don't remember a ton of it. I do remember, I think we were having fun, just goofing around. And then I picked kind of an older song. And I remember my dad saying, if you're going to sing one of my songs, you need to do it better. And that just like killed my spirit. I remember being like, well, okay then, guess I'm never singing in front of you again. It was so dejecting. Like it was one of those moments in childhood, especially as a daughter with her father, of like, I really just I wanted support. And I guess needed. Like, let's go ahead and say that. Like, you're a child. You need support. So I needed support in that moment. And all he offered me was criticism. Now, this is something I actually remember, like pretty much exactly what he said. I know that similar instances had happened where I'd gotten criticism rather than support. So it wasn't the first time something like that happened, but I do remember that this specifically was a very vulnerable moment for me. And the impact that had was that it like clicked something on in my brain that that it's more important to be good at something than to just enjoy it, especially in terms of creativity. So this was the start of a mindset that creativity, art, singing, anything like that, anything where you're in that state of creating and outputting and stuff like that, it's only valuable if others think that it's good. That was the beginning of that moment. I'm sorry, that moment was the beginning of that thought process of why create if it's not good, of needing validation from other people to feel like my time was worth it when I did any type of creating, whether that's writing, drawing, painting, anything. I remember that I used to do that quite a bit. Like I enjoyed drawing, I enjoyed a lot of different creative things, and I really, really loved singing. And that just shut me up. I was like, oh wow, okay, I'm not good at this. So I don't want to do it in front of people and like risk this vulnerability and be shut down like that again. So it really planted the seed, and it also impacted my mindset. I remember that's the beginning, but I grew this narrative. I built this narrative that said that I wasn't creative because I wasn't good. Like I'd try different things and just say, you know what? I guess I'm just not that creative. I see other people doing it and they're really good at it, but that's just not me. And that really stayed with me, that mindset of, I guess I'm just not creative. So in addition to all that, it really affected my relationship with my father for a long time of needing his approval and like only wanting to show him something when I was like, this is undeniably good. This is undeniably, I've done the research. I've gotten second opinions. This is undeniably good. And now I can show him and he'll be proud of me. So it really, I don't know, it like put a block in between us where I just didn't want to be vulnerable in front of him ever again. I didn't want to feel that way ever. So that's my first small moment. The second one, it was when I was 17. I was working at a retreat camp in the mountains. This is one of my first times like living away from home. And we were doing this group project where I can't remember the specifics of it, but basically other workers there, like we all had some sort of poster, maybe like we all each had a poster, and then we'd write on other people's posters something that we liked about them or something that we thought about them that was positive. And I remember one girl who I wasn't like that close with, but we were cool. I remember that she wrote that I was like secretly hilarious. And it was such a small thing, but it blew my mind a little bit because I had never really thought of myself as funny. And like hindsight, I am, but everyone in my family has a specific type of humor, and I wasn't the funniest of them. So I just never really I didn't really identified as being funny. Now there were certain friends who I connected with more, and I guess we just got each other's humor, and I was like, okay, we're both funny. No, we're having a good time. But it just really like, it really made me think about who I was outside of my family dynamic. It really started this pattern, I guess, the beginning of this journey of me leaving home and traveling to different places and meeting different aspects of myself that I'd never had the chance to explore because there just wasn't an environment where it could come out. And yeah, it really started that of like, oh wow, this is something about myself I just didn't even realize. And yeah, and it just, after traveling to different places and meeting different people and meeting different parts of myself, it it really was the beginning of that. So, my third moment was, I can't remember, probably early 20s. I was in therapy and I had just done this little questionnaire thing, and my therapist says, kind of offhandedly, casually, says, "Oh, hey, it looks like you might have ADHD. Let's talk about that more." And I was surprised. I was just like, surely not. I don't meet the criteria. I'm not some like, I'm not, I don't want to say tweaking. I'm not like, my attention's not constantly going anywhere. I've seen lots of guys with ADHD and I do not look like them. And she explained to me that ADHD in women was a lot different than ADHD in men. And we went into it and kind of explored it. And it turns out I have ADHD. And it just, the impact that had, it was huge to me because my whole life, like I love to learn. I really do. Give me a class, I'll take it. If I find it interesting. But like, I love to learn. I love to read specific genres of books. But I'd always had a really difficult time with school and being able to study. Like that was just so hard for me. And I thought it was because like I just never learned how to study. I thought it was because I had no self-control. I just didn't have discipline. And I just had a lot of like shame around my inability to sit down and study. Like kids and other people, I guess, would just tell, and classmates in college, they would tell me like how much they studied and like, I'm going to go home and study. And like, they do it. They just go do it. And I'd be envious because I'm just like, how do you do that? And to anyone who doesn't have ADHD, and I don't know that this is what it's like for everyone who has it, but I know specifically for me, it's like, it's actually physically uncomfortable, like bordering painful to sit down. And it's not even the act of studying itself, because once I'm in it, it's fine. It's to begin studying, to actually begin. If I can get past the first 5 minutes, I can do it. But those first 5 minutes, like it is actually physically feels like you're pushing something inside of yourself to do it. At least that's how it felt for me. And I didn't understand how to deal with that feeling for so long. I would say now, after years of doing this and understanding like more about ADHD, I can get through it now. But I had such a hard time. And it may seem wild that like I did really well in school. Like I did. But I didn't learn that much because, well, I won't say that. I didn't retain very much of it because I didn't spend the time studying over and over again. Like if I got 20 minutes of studying in for like a week of classes, I would be honestly proud of myself. What ended up having to happen is that I would just I had to get really good at pattern recognition. Whenever I took a test, I would just learn it right there while I was taking the test. Pattern recognition, and I guess I got pretty good at like drawing, going from what you know to what you don't know, being able to like cross conceptualize things. And using concepts I'd learned in one class in another class. So I got really good at that and being able to tell where a teacher would kind of draw their test material from. So I got pretty good at taking tests, but I really, unless it was like an activity, like an anatomy and physiology where really make you color stuff, something like that, I really did not study. Or they had a study guide that had like a questionnaire type style, and then it would show you the answers after. That I could do. But actually just sitting down and like reading a textbook, like it just felt impossible. So I didn't. So I didn't end up learning a lot. I just I'm pretty good at connecting dots, and I just survived that way. I don't even know necessarily how good I'd be doing now if I went to school, just because it's like an ADHD loop where if I'm too overwhelmed, there's just no way I'm studying. Like that emotional aspect will prevent me from starting. So yeah, I'm curious now to see, but I have realized that it's helpful for any class that I take if it's in person, because the shame of failing outweighs the shame and discomfort of not doing it. So yeah, still honestly, that was in my early 20s. So it's still just about finding the right tools for your tool belt and kind of balancing that out with whatever subject it is and whatever kind of style of class. So, but yeah, it was a huge moment. Like I had so much shame around it, and it allowed me to release a lot of that and be like, hey, it's not just you. You don't just suck at this. You're not stupid, which is what I felt about myself. You're not an idiot. You're not undisciplined. Like this is a crutch. It's a real thing. And now that you know that, you can prepare yourself better. You can find different ways to do it that work better for you. Okay. And it also, I would say, opened up the idea that if I'm having a really, really hard time with something and other people aren't, that maybe there's another factor in this that I need to be looking at. So it also kind of opened me up to that mindset of like, okay, if the normal way that everyone's doing is not working, let's think about this. Let's try to figure out why it's not. And again, it just open your mind to doing it in a different way, which is very helpful. All right. So the next moment, I was around 28, and it was just this little blurb. I started looking more into astrology because I hadn't really been into it before, but I was like kind of doing a blind study about it. And there was just this little breakdown of one of my planets and signs. And it mentioned that I was creative. And it's funny because the first time I read that, I was like, wrong. I'm not creative. I've had that. I've known that about myself since I was like 8 or 10 or 12. I'm not creative. That's not me. Got it wrong. But I read some more astrological things, and it kept saying like, hey, you're probably very creative. And I was just like, am I creative? I mean, with astrology, it's not making it fit, it's whatever. It kind of just, it's validating what you've already known about yourself. So whether something is true or not. Like even if you don't want to admit it, like there's something in you that's like, it's kind of true though. And it really started it touched on something within me. Touched on that little girl who was wounded by her father criticizing her. It just kind of it shook something. It opened a door that I kept shutting. I let a little light crack in, and it was just the thought, like, am I creative? Like I've never really thought I am, but maybe that's worth exploring. And it led to me reading a book called The Artist's Way, which I will not lie, I found a little cheesy at first, but it's actually really good. I did the whole thing, and it just really, it spoke to me. I don't know, it really struck me. It hit on something deep that I had been kind of keeping very far inside of me. I've been creative this whole time. I've just been really afraid of the vulnerability that poses, of having a part of you exported into the world for everyone to see and judge, and then perhaps reliving that experience I had as a child. And I don't know, like I began this process of working through the pain instead of avoiding everything I loved doing, because I didn't want to feel that way anymore or again. But yeah, it really, that little breakdown saying that I was creative led to me reopening this journey of creation, like trying out different styles and like really trying to focus on just doing it for enjoyment, telling myself like, hey, nobody has to see this. And even then finding it difficult because it's like, well, I see it and it sucks. And just really been like, okay. Like, I don't know, imagining that I'm a child again. Would you tell a child their painting sucks? Because I wouldn't. But just really trying to take care of that inner child in me, that little girl who she just wants to paint because it's fun. And just exploring again, letting myself explore, letting myself imagine and like try, and then kind of growing that muscle and incubating that creative fire enough to be able to do more outward facing types of creation, like a podcast. But yeah, and also too, like doing all that work for myself and seeing, like, working through where it came from, how we got there, all these years of pushing it down, and then coming full circle back to this and like kind of being able to stand on my own. And it helped my relationship with my father, and allowed me to kind of like allow myself to grow closer to him in a way, because I wondered who had said something like that to him when he was a child. Who told him like, hey, if you're going to do this, do it better. You're like representing me here. It made me see him in a new light. It made me think of a little boy. Like I have a nephew, and thinking of, someone saying to him like, that's not good. Do like, I don't like that. Do better. And like seeing a little spirit break. So I guess I just pictured my father as a little boy and seeing that someone had broken that in him, and that he was just, I guess, redoing what he thought was correct. Because if you truly think that's correct, why wouldn't you tell someone, like, hey, do better? But yeah, it really helped me see him in a new light and allow us to go closer. And for me to to broach the subject with him and be like, let's create together. This isn't necessarily about, because it's, once you see it in yourself, it's just so easy to recognize in other people, where you're like, oh, you're afraid of looking vulnerable. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of looking stupid. Yeah, once you've felt that and worked through, like, it's, you see it easily, because you're like, I know that feeling. I see it. So yeah, it's a little wild to me that it all started from just a casual exploration into astrology. So my last moment was pretty recent, actually. And it was just a little prompt from I can't remember if it was a meditation. It was something to do with just like placing your hand on your heart and asking yourself, what do I want the most? Like, what do I really want? And I thought it would be something around like being loved or being seen, wounds that I know that I'm still working on and healing. And I really thought it was that, but as I was feeling it out, kind of analyzing it, I realized that it wasn't that at all. That more than either of those things, either of those wounds, what was bigger at this point in my life is that I really want to work on like fulfilling projects and like creative opportunities and collaborate with people to be able to dive headfirst into a project that I love and like make something that I'm super proud of that I had stake in, that I helped like birth into existence. And that blew my mind a little bit. Like I think I teared up a little just because it was one of the first moments of my life where I think that's actually like true, where rather than fill the holes that I'd felt for a long time, you know, those wounds being the priority, I could see past that to what it is I truly wanted. And I guess the way it impacted me was that I realized like I've lived so long with those wounds at the forefront, leading my actions and motivations. And to not have that was extremely freeing, because it's no more like to live your life in a way that's not performative to some aspect, to be about being loved or being seen. It just like opened my life maybe more than it ever has been. It opened me to kind of be able to do whatever I want, I guess, because it's that when you want to be seen and loved, it's almost as if you feel you have to act, and not even almost. It's as if you feel you have to act in a way that's going to get you that. And therefore kind of every action is controlled. And when you let that go, you're free to do whatever. And that it really releases you, maybe not entirely, but quite a bit, from the fear of like being cringe, the fear of someone else's perception of you. Because what does it matter? Like, who cares? That kind of like, once you work through that emotion and you come back to it, it really is like, who cares what they think? I don't care about them seeing me. I don't care about them loving me. So I can just do what I love. And yeah, it was such a small moment. Like, I think I was just like at my day job, and it was a simple practice. And just having that like realization wash over me, I was just like, oh, this is new. And I won't say that I'm completely free of it. Of course, it takes time, but I will say like it had a huge impact. Like that little moment freed me from years and years and years of like, I guess I don't want to say like trying to get attention, but really wanting it. Wanting it from specific people and like doing things to get it, whether that's showing off or just acting a certain way or whatever. Like it let me like let go. And yeah, so those are my little moments that had huge impacts. And it was pretty fun to go through those, to kind of like go over my life and be like, what are the little moments? And I might revisit this topic again. I mean, these aren't the only ones. There's little ones with even more of a bigger impact, but these are the ones that I was like, I like this because it kind of comes full circle. Not even kind of, it comes full circle. And yeah, they felt right for today. So I'm going to end this with what I really want today. And I'd kind of like to end most of my podcasts with me, or if I bring someone on, whoever I bring on, just, putting out into the ether what it is we really want, getting it out of us and, into something else. That today I really want to find balance between all of my interests, and Lord, there are many, and also ensuring that I'm still taking care of my body and home and daily practices. So that's what I really want today. And I'm still navigating that, still working my way around it, experimenting, strategizing, all of that. But yeah, that's all for today. Until next time.